On today's show, we will discuss how do we live in the waiting, and then later we will have Mary Beth Burket join us to share a powerful story. Today, I just want to encourage you to keep on keeping on. Don't give up and don't stay down. Maybe you're feeling tired. Maybe you feel like you just cannot take one more step. Maybe you feel overwhelmed by life. Well, I want to tell you, don't let Satan keep you there for one more minute. Don't give him that win. Don't let him have a say any longer. Get up, my friend. Take a deep breath, but get up. And then call to God for help. You see, he's never left your side, and he desires to help you through this. He is the same God today that we read about in the Bible. If he stood in the fire with 3 men who surrendered their life to him, he can stand in the fire for you. If he parted the sea so his people could cross safely, he can part that sea for you. If he closed the mouths of hungry lions, he can close the mouths of those lions attacking you. Time after time, we see God provide rest, food, healing, safety, peace, comfort, and so much more. Do you believe he is the same God today? Because I want to tell you, my friends, that he is. He has not changed who he is and how much he wants to help you. He sees you right where you are, even in the mess of it all. And I believe that he is saying, child, rise up. Rise up and take back what the enemy is trying to steal from you. Rise up. Let the enemy hear you say no longer. Make the choice to get up and declare that nothing will stop you from pursuing the life that God has for you. Fix your eyes on the one who can and will walk with you through any storm, because nothing is too big for him. And we need to believe that, to really know that here in our hearts and minds, that he is for us. John 10:10 says, the thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I have come that they may have life and have it to the full. And today is a new day, my friend, and that with God, anything is possible. And we are just 3 ladies with big opinions, always backed up by a biblical standpoint. Let's talk about it.
This segment is brought to you by Harry's Construction, whose motto is, if you can dream it, we can create it. They are the kitchen and bath design experts, so call Harry's Construction for all your remodeling needs.
Welcome back to Let's Talk About It. And today I think it's a great question to really understand that waiting is okay and what waiting does for our relationship with God in the midst of the waiting. And so that's what we're going to talk to you about. And hopefully this helps you if you feel you're in a place of waiting. So Arlene.
Waiting's hard. It is.
Yeah.
Waiting is hard.
Waiting is terrible.
But if you are sitting in his presence, in the waiting.
Yes. Yes.
That changes the way I feel about it. If
It
I
does.
am in his presence, in the waiting, whatever the waiting is about, whatever that is.
And I know I've probably shared this before because it's a big part of my life, but when I waited 7 years for my second child, the first 3 years of waiting were horrendous for me because my eyes were off of him. I was so focused on wanting the baby, needing the baby, and I grew in depression, anger, just every negative feeling that could come my way. The last 3.5 years, still waiting, still not having what I wanted, but I got my eyes on him.
Yes.
I was in the Word. I was praying. I was just letting him speak to my heart. And I'll tell you what, there is such a difference in both of those still waiting.
Yes.
Yes.
Still waiting.
Yes. Yes.
Your
yes.
circumstance didn't change. You're
No.
still in the waiting.
But your attitude.
That's right.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
whose presence you were in
Right.
Right.
is what changed.
Like,
Right.
I'm waiting. Nothing is going to take 7 years to decide for sure. But maybe like
You think?
yeah, maybe like 30 days. But it's still a time of waiting, and I want to go in there and start trying to manipulate the chess pieces myself.
Yes.
And
yes.
the Lord has very adamantly told me to stay out of it. So I have to ask myself, okay, Teresa, why do you feel, because I'm not a controlling person. Why do you feel like you need, because I want peace about this, and I want peace about it right now, because like, this is how I feel. Like, but there will be an end to these troubles
Yeah.
for the heart that holds on. There will be an end to these troubles.
Yeah.
And it's going to be good, because he is not going to give, it's not even for me, it's for one of my children. He's going to come through for me, but also for him.
Right.
For his glory, he's going to make this happen so that my child can see
Yes.
what he can do in the waiting.
Right.
But if mom goes in there and makes it happen, and the Lord has told me, you're going to box him in. You're going to put him in a place that he's not supposed to be because it makes you feel better right now.
Yes.
And he's going to know that you did it. He's never going to know that I did it.
Right. Two things that really I've learned in the waiting. One, the waiting is not for nothing. It's not just like, oh, I just waited.
It's a faith builder,
It's-
honestly.
It's something that builds your faith and your trust in God. It's a learning time. What can I learn in the waiting? How can I grow in the waiting? What are you trying to show and teach me in the waiting? The waiting is not for nothing. What is it that we can do in the waiting that you want to bring into my life? Because there are things that God taught me in the waiting that I won't get out
Any other way.
Right,
Any
right.
other way. The spiritual muscles,
Yes.
Yes.
for lack of a better word,
Right.
are developed in different ways.
Right.
You cannot have the spiritual muscles you need if you never go through a period of waiting.
I was thinking about
Absolutely.
the Israelites from the moment they crossed the
Yeah.
Red Sea. It's been years and years and years of being in the waiting.
Yeah.
Why? Because there was a reason why they waited at the base of Mount Sinai. There was a reason. There was so many things to learn and to gain, and to relationships that had to be built with the Lord. And
And still, even now, we are learning
Yes.
from their waiting.
but they didn't do so well in
Yes.
the waiting, and
No.
it did not end multiple times. Did not end well for them, because they lost patience and perseverance, and they ran their mouth and oh, if you would have only let us die, and I read that and I think, my goodness, Lord, I do not want to frustrate you like that.
Yeah. Yes.
It was very,
Yes.
you know what I mean? I don't want my hindsight to be so small that I forget what he's done all the other times in the waiting.
Yes, what he's already done.
Yes.
Yes.
But they would always forget.
And just from example in my life, I can tell you, it's not that you like the waiting. I'm not saying that. But it's in the waiting where I see my most growth.
Yeah.
Yes.
It just is.
Yep.
It's not when things are going well. And that stinks sometimes to say and hear, but it's truth. It's in those hard times, it's in those unknown times
Yes.
that there absolutely can be the most growth in your walk with Christ if you allow it, if you surrender to it.
Yes.
It truly, and when you go back, you will see it.
Oh,
you
definitely.
will see it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh, okay.
Yes.
We turn into a society of instant gratification,
Yeah.
which makes it even, like, we're all guilty of it, and it makes it even harder.
Which is why we want to manipulate things to
Oh, yeah.
to do. Okay, if I'm supposed to be waiting on this, but if I talk to Teresa and I get her to do something, then that might, Arlene, step back.
And I bet
Step
you
back.
can say, all of us can say, if we open our own doors and we try to make it our own way, how many times has it worked out?
Oh, yeah.
Probably never. Like, honestly.
Yeah.
So if we see that and know that, quit opening your own doors. Let God be the one. I know even for me, there was a time when I was like, I'm just going to do it my own way and do it, go through a procedure that I knew was not what he wanted. And it really wasn't what I wanted. But I was like, I've waited so long. I need to step forth and do my own thing.
Yeah.
And I had no peace. Thankfully, I didn't follow through. But it would not have been for God's glory then.
Right.
Now, he gets all the glory from the miracle.
Right.
And you look at Sarah.
And I was just going to say, my prayer, I had, in circumstances through my life, I have learned to pray, God, I don't want to birth an Ishmael.
Right.
I don't want to birth an Ishmael. I want to hear from you. You are faithful, and I trust you, and I do not want to birth an Ishmael. Help me to keep my mouth shut and my eyes on you.
Because really what it shows, if we open our own doors, is that we don't trust God's timing and his ways. We trust our timing.
We
and
don't
our
trust
ways.
his promises that
Right.
he is faithful.
Right.
I have a story of being in the waiting and trying to make things happen, and it ended in disaster. And very quickly, when we lived in Beckley, we owned a home, and we were trying to refinance that home, and every door known to man was closing. We're like, why? What? Like, what is this? We kept, like you said, we kept opening that door, opening that door, opening that door, and finally, God let us go
That's
through
right.
it.
That's
Went
right.
through it.
He will.
We refinanced that house, cashed out, maxed out the equity, and don't you know, we got transferred to North Carolina. Had we not done that, the government would have came in, bought our house from us at market value. We would have made a ton of money and been able to buy a house in North Carolina. But instead, Teresa was renting, plus had to find a renter for her house
For
up
your
in
house.
Beckley.
Yep.
It was a disaster.
Yeah.
I love that you said, we kept doing it. And so eventually God said,
Yeah, I knew.
Yeah.
He just like, okay, well, here you go.
Go ahead.
yeah, because God's not going to keep holding you back
No.
because he gives us free will.
That's right. He
right.
does not put us in chains or handcuffs.
Right.
And and then we were like, oh, thank you, God. And then
Yeah.
later I'm like, that wasn't even him. I
Yep.
mean, duh, I know it now.
Right. Yeah.
And we do not see all that he sees.
No.
We just see what's in front of us, what we want right now.
And we
He
want the
sees it all.
temporary fix.
Satisfaction. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he sees, listen, have you ever seen that real quick? I've seen it on Facebook where a little girl is holding a teddy bear and God behind his back is holding this huge teddy bear, but she doesn't want to give up her teddy bear. And he's like, but I have this huge teddy
something
bear.
better for
I have something better for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Yep.
And God always has our best in mind.
Does.
Quickly, this verse, Psalm 37:7. Be still in the presence of the Lord and wait patiently for him to act. Don't worry about evil people who prosper or fret about their wicked schemes. So waiting isn't easy, but it is so important to keep your eyes on him, activate your faith in that moment, because what he does in the waiting will become clear to you as you get on the other side. When we come back, we will have our guest for the day.
Impact Productions, a multi-layer technology company providing on-site, online, and in-studio video services. Contact Impact Productions to capture your story.
When it's time for a new roof, Champion Roofing is your best choice. We're a certified award-winning roofing contractor, meaning your roof is done right the first time. Call today.
Champion Roofing, we're the solution.
Welcome back to Let's Talk About It. And today we have a special guest with us, a good friend, Mary Beth. Before we get into the testimony part, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name's Mary Beth Burket. I live in Tyrone, Pennsylvania, and I have 2 daughters, Olivia and Victoria, and 3 stepchildren, Courtney, Cole, and Canaan. and we have 2 dogs, Ozzy and Jasper. And
You have to always include the fur baby.
you have to, right?
No, I don't.
Yeah, and I attend here at Transformation Church, and I work in finance in State College, Pennsylvania.
Oh, awesome.
So, I wanted to bring you here because I think you have such an amazing story and what God is doing in it through you. You can just see it all over your face. It just shines so bright, truly. Like, I'm not just saying that. There are some people that, you can just see it. You can just see
As soon
it.
as she walked in.
Yeah.
It's like, I could
Yeah.
be friends with her.
Yeah.
I like this girl.
Yeah, like you can tell.
Yeah.
And I don't like to spend a lot of time on the negative, but just so people have a little bit of a backstory, tell us a little bit about some of the struggles and things that you faced before you got to the good stuff.
Before I got to the good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I was married at a young age and had our daughters. And, we attended a church. It wasn't like a transformation church. And I had made just some pretty poor decisions in that relationship before the Lord really got a hold of me. And that unfortunately ended in divorce, which took me just down a really dark path, a very depressed time. But it was the Lord. If I hadn't gone through that season in my life, I wouldn't know the Lord like I do today.
He got your attention through
Oh,
that.
He got my attention before that and through that.
Okay.
Now, just so that I'm clear, because I actually don't know, the divorce, was it your decision or was it his or?
No, I mean, there were some things there, but it was ultimately, nobody wants their family to be broken apart, and I certainly didn't want that. But just for reasons, it ended that way. Yeah.
And how many years ago was that?
It was in 2021.
2021. So fairly recently.
Fairly recent.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you were married quite a while.
Yeah, about 21 years.
Oh, my
yeah.
goodness. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. So kind of at that point, you might think like, we're good. We're
Right.
to go.
Certainly
Right.
not your plan.
It
Yeah.
definitely was not my plan.
Yeah.
No.
So now, I'm not sure it started here, but I always remember the story that you tell about coming to Transformation Church and then hearing someone speak. Would you say that was a turning point for you when Heather Magnus from
Titus 2
Titus 2 Ministries came?
Yeah, so the turning point was I had a friend that invited me to a Trace Diaz weekend. I'm not sure if you're familiar with
I have
that.
heard of that.
Yes, yes.
And I mean, at this time, I'm just kind of a broken mess. And she said, would you like to go? And well, if I can get off that day, I'll go. I said, the Lord must really want me there if I could get off that day. And of course, I could get off. And that weekend, I just saw so many women there that had a joy that I didn't have, that knew the Holy Spirit like I hadn't known. And I prayed for that. I want what they have. It was so contagious and so beautiful. And after that weekend, I was driving to State College, and in my spirit, I heard Transformation Church. And I'm like, okay, what do you want me to do about Transformation Church? And it was just confirmed, you're supposed to go there this Sunday. And I had commitments to my other church. Like, I was in praise team, I played the piano, and I was scheduled for that week. And I...
Oh, wow.
Those things.
And I called, the voice was so strong inside that I called and I said, can somebody fill in for me? I need to be somewhere. So I walked over to the back corner, and Pastor Jim was there and Heather from Titus 2 Ministries, and she was talking about her program, A Time to Heal Beyond Survival, and just a little bit about that process. And Pastor Jim started a series on Forget and Be Fruitful. And I was like, okay, God, I know why I'm here.
Wow. Okay, I have goosebumps. I love it when God does that.
Right?
I love that you were obedient,
Yeah.
even though it was not convenient for you.
Right.
It'd been way easy.
She
to
already
say.
was somewhere.
She was committed to
Yes,
something.
she
That,
was.
I mean, yeah, you were obedient, even though it wasn't easy for you.
Right. And so I went up to Heather afterwards, and she had talked about people praying, and I'm like, I think I could be a good prayer partner. And she looked at me and she said, well, I really want you to pray about going through the class. Okay, I'm in. Like, I'll do the class. I knew I needed it.
And it was a transformational time for you.
Oh my
wasn't
goodness. It was beautiful. It was just, I mean, healing's a journey, right? It's not instantaneous. It's I went to that class and, you know, I really feel like if you're not willing to admit what's hurting you, you're not going to get healed from it. So I was like full force.
I love that because we've had Heather on here.
Yes.
Yes.
But I love that now we have someone
I was thinking the same
to
thing.
be a testimony of what she said they do. Like you can affirm that it works.
Oh, it works. And she, you know, that program gives you tools throughout your whole entire life. You
so
know,
it's not just something you go through and then, okay, I'm
No.
good. I'm going to go on.
no.
It's something you carry with you.
It's something you carry with you. It's not, you're not healed in 8 weeks. You have the tools to continue the journey for a lifetime.
Yeah. And I've heard, I mean, you're not the first that I've heard this about with that. So I do truly, if you're watching, recommend getting connected to this ministry because I really have heard such positive things about women coming through and finding their healing and finding the tools to pick up. And now they're doing men's
Yes,
classes
there is
too.
men's
Yeah.
and women's
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
And don't think it has to be something huge, you know.
Right,
Oh,
right. It doesn't have to be that your life is
Listen,
falling completely
It
apart.
doesn't. No. Like if you had a high school breakup, I recommend going because you know what, we all have issues and stuff things from those days, right?
right, that we're still holding on to that we might not even realize are affecting decisions and choices that we're making
Right.
today.
Yeah.
And what I have heard with the Time to Heal is the tools that you get are pivotal.
They are transformational. Yeah.
And now you're on the team
yes.
with her,
Yes.
her team.
Are you
Yep.
fantastic?
Thank you.
Oh, I love
And so she gets to help with, you know, all the ministry, different things that they
Yeah.
do. And you shine bright doing that. Like, I mean, just.
How full are the classes? Like how?
We keep them small.
Okay.
So I'd say the average size, you know, could be anywhere from 3 to 6.
Okay.
Sometimes they're a little bigger, sometimes smaller, but yeah, they're good.
I think she has one going on right now that already started, but I think it's Monday mornings
Yeah.
that she's doing one this
Started,
time. So.
yeah, this past Monday.
There, one thing that's nice about this ministry is it's not like always the same day and time.
Right.
So if there's one that you can find that works better for your schedule, then you can connect
Yeah.
Yeah.
with that. So that's nice to have.
Yeah.
So God's taking you on this incredible journey of healing, giving you tools to go forth. What have you seen change in your life in these last couple months to year? Because I know you've had some big ones.
Everything.
Well, that narrows it down.
Everything. My relationship with the Lord has just grown by leaps and bounds. You know, the baptism of the Holy Spirit has empowered me, like, just to even talk about things that have happened. After Time to Heal, like, I don't know if I've been through deliverance, which people kind of view as like, oh, you know, demons, deliverance. Deliverance is beautiful.
Yeah.
It's like forgiveness and restoration and declaration. It was such a beautiful thing for me. And in my deliverance, a gentleman prayed over me and he said, you're going to be identified. Your new identity is a woman of joy. And I'm like, oh, wow. Guess what? Everywhere I go, like, everyone says, you are such a woman of joy. A woman of joy. And not that I was miserable, you know, and before that, but
It's different.
it's different. And so once I was healed and set free, I started praying, like, Lord, you know what? I would really love a second chance at love. I want to do it your way. Please send me a man of God. Please send me a man that loves you more than he'll ever love me, like a modern day Boaz. And I prayed these prayers and prayed them. And it was Father's Day, and Pastor Jim gave a message, and he said, I just feel like the Father wants to pour out gifts on his children if you're humble enough to come ask. And I thought, well, it doesn't hurt. So I went forward, and George Bell was at the altar, and I said, George, this is probably a pretty weird request, but I pray that if if the Lord sees fit for me to remarry, that he would send a godly man my way. And if not, that he would give me a contented heart. And so he had,
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
he had one of the women in the church come and pray for me. And 2 days later, I met my husband now. And he is a modern day Boaz. Yeah.
Awesome.
I love that you put the prayer as like, if it's not meant to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is so good. That's a great place to be. I hope you hear her heart, and obviously I know you can see her joy. And you know, when you're willing to surrender to God and use the tools that have been provided, great things can happen in your journey with Christ. So I encourage you, look up this ministry if you need to. Call on us. We'll try to help you. And when we come back, we will have our tip for the day.
Made by Vogel is a father and son business that produces high-quality handmade wooden products such as cutting boards, bowls, bottle stoppers, and more. Products for sale can be found on their Etsy site or in downtown Altoona at the Clay Cup. You can't go wrong buying from Made by Vogel.
For generations, Dick's Home Care has been providing the best equipment and service for patient care at home. Breathe easier with oxygen from Dick's Home Care. Oxygen concentrators give you a continuous oxygen supply at home. Oxygen cylinders supply oxygen without power. And portable oxygen frees you to go. Dick's Home Care technicians will set your oxygen up and make sure you know how to use it. Call the leader in home medical equipment, Dick's Home Care.
Today's tip is to help you pack for those upcoming vacations. First, make a list. This is helpful so you don't forget anything that is needed and you can check it off when you've packed that item. Second, when packing, roll your clothes. Why? Because it absolutely saves space and will allow you to pack even more. And girls that are watching, we all know we need more space. Also, use travel-sized containers for those shampoos, conditioners, and lotions. This is a big space saver, and you don't need the big bottles for a week's vacation. The last tip, use a pill organizer for your jewelry and any other vitamins or medicines that you need. This is a great way to save on space again instead of taking all the big bottles. If you have a great tip to help with packing for vacation, why not let us know? And until next time, let's talk about it.
When it's time for a new roof, Champion Roofing is your best choice. We're a certified award-winning roofing contractor, meaning your roof is done right the first time. Call today.
Champion Roofing, we're the solution.